I may be in the minority here, but I think Guy Ritchie is another textbook definition of the phrase hit or miss. Now, I know that a lot of people like to associate M. Night Shyamalan with the phrase hit or miss, but at this point, I think it's safe to say we can throw Guy Ritchie into that conversation at least. Just saying, just saying. But here we have a hit. So The Covenant is a brand new film directed by Guy Ritchie. The film stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Dar Salim, Anthony Starr, and Alexander Ludwig. The film is about a sergeant named John Kinley and a local interpreter named Ahmed who must travel through rugged and treacherous terrain during the war in Afghanistan. And that is only a piece of the plot. There is more to the story, but I don't want to give it away because it's a crazy story, but it's so entertaining. Now, I'll be honest. I have not seen every single Guy Ritchie film. However, from the films that I have seen, I can see that his go-to genre is more of action thrillers and spy espionage type films. Except for that one time. But I can say that I appreciate and respect his craft as a director. With The Covenant, I think from a cinematic, graphic, and directing standpoint, this is some of his best work yet. This movie is just downright gorgeous. Everything from the sunrise behind the mountains, to the environments due to the change in climate, to just the escape through the rugged terrain. It all just looks stellar. Some of these shots kind of reminded me of that movie The Revenant back in 2015. An example is when the camera focuses on the characters' emotions given the harsh and brutal weather that they find themselves to be in. You know, stuff like that. But regardless, stellar cinematography. Speaking of stellar, these two, wow. Majority of the film falls back on Jake Gyllenhaal and Dar Salim's character, but I must say, from start to finish, these two just absolutely killed it. With Jake Gyllenhaal, he's already prodigious. I mean, it's Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, like, do I really even need to explain? I will say, there is a scene towards the beginning of the final act where Jake Gyllenhaal gives a monologue and he's saying words of heroism and saying it in such a determined tone, but the energy he gives in his eyes is just incredible. Even if he said nothing, the energy in the eyes says it all. And Dar Salim, now look, I'm gonna be honest, I have never heard of this guy a day in my life until now. But he was one of the biggest highlights of this film. His character is the heart and soul of this entire movie. The lengths and sacrifices Ahmed makes to survive are immense. This is a man who has been through some difficult times, and he keeps going because even if he believes there is a 1% chance of a better life outside of Afghanistan, he's gonna reach that point. And what makes Ahmed work is his intelligence and his competence, which makes him a great partner to John Kinley. Everyone was great, but those two just absolutely did it for me. The action in here was pretty solid. The action goes all out in the final act, and there was even a theater clapping moment, and I can't lie, it was pretty epic. It was pretty epic. This movie also has great moments of intensity. From the action scenes to the dialogue exchanges, that grasp of intensity doesn't die out, and I appreciate that because it flows into the brutality of war. Now let's be real. War is a very grim thing to see no matter how you look at it. I think we can all agree on that, right? But this movie doesn't hold back on the grittiness and despair of war and how it really just impacts those around it and those involved in it. And it's just a frightening thing to see. Also, the soundtrack is great. I know that was such a weird segue to talk about the brutality of war to talking about music. I'm great at what I do. But this soundtrack was very reminiscent of a neo-western, and it blended in very transparent in here. And I have to compliment the sound editing. From the dead silence to the muffled audio to the loud explosions, I thought the flow was so fluid and worked so well when it was used throughout this entire movie. And I just gotta give love to the audio engineering team on that because they did their thing with this. The first act is kind of a slow burn, but given the payoff for acts 2 and 3, I'm willing to let that slide because again, the payoff in this movie was worth it. But what was not worth it was the rapid introduction of characters. So in the beginning of the movie, this movie does a speed run introducing you to all the characters that you're going to see throughout this film. And it's just rapid, so fast that you don't really get to process who is who. It's so fast and so quick. It reminded me of that one clip from Snowfall. Him, her, him. Literally just like that. Also, I just started Snowfall for the first time last week, and man, this show was incredible. But in the end, Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. I dug it. I still do think from a visual and from a directing standpoint, this is some of Guy Ritchie's best work yet. And I think this movie offers something for everyone, whether it be just entertaining action sequences to just high moments of intensity to even be a learning lesson in the brutality and grittiness of war. So plugging Guy Ritchie's The Covenant into the rank system, I'm going to place this one into the pinnacle zone. Also, like I stated earlier, Anthony Starr is in this film, but the entire time he's on screen, all I could think about was, I am the Homelander. Oh man. How does he not have an Emmy for that performance alone? But yeah, that's pretty much my review for Guy Ritchie's The Revenant. That's pretty much my review for Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys thought of The Covenant. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you hate that rapid intro? Did you want to see more of Homelander in this movie? Let me know down in the comment section below, and I will see you all in the next one.
After working up the nerve almost equal in size, I walked around with the iron for any wrinkle in time. I paid a piece of my mind for every nickel and dime, but never less than a 5 and never slept on a job. A killer crept on your squad, yet never left the garage. When your God was close enough to see the flesh of his eyes. Get to the button and press, it's what the message advised. What's a threat behind the vest is where the testament lies.